Welcome to Wigglesticks TV. Today we are going to rebuild the rear brake. We've got the rear caliper and the master cylinder, whoops, leaking a bit of fluid. The master cylinder over here, as well as a new braided line, and then new OEM parts to rebuild the master cylinder, replace all the screws, rebuild the caliper and replace all screws and fittings. And then I've got a master cylinder rebuild kit, and then as well as this Woodcraft brake pedal return spring as well. I just saw that advertised and thought it would be pretty cool, so I'll end up fitting that sucker as well. New bolts and everything for the calipers. So the first thing I'm going to tackle is the caliper. I'm just going to pull the pads out and then give it a good clean, replace some of the fittings and everything on there, put new pads in it, and see how it goes. With any luck, I can get away without rebuilding the caliper itself. But I have a rebuild kit on order, but they're sometime away, sometime till they come in from Suzuki. So we'll start with this one and yeah, see how we go. Pads have still got plenty of meat on them. Probably just put new ones in there just because, may as well. New bike, might keep these as spares, see how they clean up. Caliper itself doesn't look too bad. Just a little bit of surface rust in there, so hit that with the brake cleaner and see what happens. Giving these a bit of a clean, but I'd like to get in to clean the pistons a little bit more without completely splitting the caliper. So I'm just going to put some rag in here, and then I'm going to put some compressed air in the side of the caliper, and hopefully it should push the pistons out a little bit further, just so I can clean around them and see what state the actual surface of the piston is. So I'll just give that a go now. That was pretty straightforward. The piston came out, so I'll just get this rag out of here and see how we go. Okay, so the piston came right out. The seal came out, so I guess I'm going to rebuild this with a seal kit now and completely clean the system. So I'll take this off and push the piston out the other side and order a rebuild kit for the rear caliper. So I guess that's a decision that's been made by the caliper. So I'll just get this piston out and then we'll give it a clean. I've got the pistons out of the caliper and started cleaning them, but I've decided I'm going to split the caliper and actually give it a full clean and redo the full seals and everything in there, just to get in tip-top shape, mainly because and replace the pistons, because this piston here, I mean, for the sake of 80 bucks, which is what the piston kit is, and the seal kit, it's like an extra 40 bucks for the pistons. I think it's probably worthwhile doing now that I've got it apart anyway. And since I bought all these other new parts, I may as well just get another piston kit as well. So I'm just going to split the caliper and then go from there. So I've already loosened the bolts on the side. That took a bit of force, so I'll just undo these now. There we are, calipers in 2 halves. At least we'll be able to get in now and give it a really good clean. So I'll just get back in there with brake fluid and whatnot and a rag, and yeah, clean out all this mess in here. Well, the cleaning is continuing. You can see in the back of the caliper there's like a stain from the brake fluid. I managed to clean out most of the you can see on the other caliper here up in the top where the seals sit in, there's a bunch of black sort of residue in there, which I've managed to clean out from this side of the caliper. So yeah, I'm just keeping on going. I'm using a mixture of brake cleaner and alcohol. Finally finished cleaning up the calipers. The insides are ready to go. I'm not worried too much about the brake caliper stain, the brake fluid stains on the inside. I've just made sure to clean the piston seals really well. I've got a range of cleaned up original parts and then some new parts that I ordered. I didn't have one of those, and some new pads, and then a new piston kit. So I'm just going to get in the process of putting this all back together now. Old crusty piston and some nice brand new piston, so I think they will be a worthwhile addition. Just about to put the seals into the caliper body, and I was reading the service manual, and the caliper themselves are supposed to, there's one way for them to go in, but it's extremely difficult to actually figure out which way the seal goes in. You can't really see it on camera, but it feels very flat, so it's not as a pronounced angle as you can see on the diagram here. So I'm just taking a little bit of time just to make sure that I put them in correctly, because it would be annoying if they're in the wrong way. So I'll figure out the right way to put them in, and then I'll get back in a second. After doing a bit of research, even though the service manual says the seal is tapered, it's actually not tapered at all. And if it is, the difference is 0.01 of a millimeter on one side. I called Suzuki, asked them about it, got a couple of people to have a look at it, and everyone agrees that it's a straight seal. So it doesn't really matter which way it goes in. I think if the inside of the piston itself does have a taper in there, then it will probably just affect the seal over time. But that's the seal that came in the official kit with it, so I'm just going to run with this one and start putting these into the pistons now. we go, it's all nicely seated into both calipers. And now just go and put the piston in. After some messing around and putting the seal that I forgot to put in there, I've managed to get those in. So now I just put the calipers together and we'll be in business. One last little seal to go. Calipers all back together now, other than having the wrong brake pads, which is an easy swap over. The calipers all back together now. A little bit of fiddling around, get everything back together. The lines run. I'm just going to put the little dust caps on the end of the new bleeder nipples and then replace the pads with the new ones once I get them. But at least the calipers all back together now, and about to get started on the master cylinder. Before I pull it apart, I'm actually going to solder blast this part of it and down here because I'd like to clean it up a little bit, and I have a solder blaster, so I'm going to empty all the fluid out of here first, and then probably leave this hose on because I have a new one, and probably leave this whole thing on actually just to keep all the crap out of the actual master cylinder itself. So I'll empty the fluid out and then I'll hit it with the solder blaster and see what it looks like. So here's the before. Master cylinder is back from solder blasting, cleaned up pretty nicely I think. Even gave the top piece a bit of a blasting with it, so just cleaned it up that little bit extra. So I'll just go apart now and pull everything apart and replace it with all the new internals. I've already done this previously on the other master cylinder, so I'll link that video up here or over there somewhere. And got the reservoir all cleaned up, fresh hose and clamps on there, couple of new screws on the top because the other ones were looking a little bit dicey, thoroughly clean with brake clear and everything like that, so it's all ready to go back on. So the next part I will just get back into the actual master cylinder itself. Just pulled the hose off and you can see the I just pulled the hose off and you can kind of see the murkiness inside the master cylinder. So just pull out the O-ring. I've got a new one of these anyway. So we're back in here now. I'm going to remove the piston from the from the master cylinder. So take the clevis off and then pull the dust seal off and then take the C-clip out. Should be pretty straightforward. So here goes. Got all the bottom part of the master cylinder assembly all cleaned up now. Gave some of the parts a little bit of a hit with the Dremel, just with the soft wire nylon brush, just to get some of the grime off there. So yeah, I'll just get on now to doing the actual master cylinder piston part. You can see it's a little bit dirty in there, but it should come out and be as good as new with the new piston assembly in there. So here goes. It's lucky we went ahead and changed this, repaired the master cylinder, because the rubber seal itself, you can kind of see there the some lights running out. You can see the boot itself has started to come apart, so it's probably good to catch that before it went much further. One extra piece I'm going to change on this master cylinder is run a Woodcraft brake pedal return spring, which is supposed to give a little bit more feel in the brake pedal. So, oops. Merely just a spring and a base, and that kind of sits over the top and sits in there, and then rests up against the base of the clavicle thing. So I'll put that on shortly. Ended up getting a vise just to hold the master cylinder, because this is a bit of a pain to get in. I have the master cylinder all back together now. The GoPro died halfway through putting it back together, so I missed a little bit of the footage of putting this on, but it's essentially just slipping it over there as the spring over that, and it sits in the bottom of here, and then this little base plate sits on here. But yeah, functions like it should now. This back in, and I'm just about to connect up the reservoir part. And then we're done. So the whole shebang is rebuilt now. It's all nicely cleaned up. I'm not going to put it back onto the bike today because I need to do something else first, where I need to pull the swing arm out. So that'll be pretty much it for today. I'll plug it back in, screw it back into the braided line just to seal up the system, and then be good to go. So pretty straightforward process. Not sure what I'd recommend. Maybe having a vise would be a good idea to start with, just to keep hold of the master cylinder body when you're rebuilding it, but it's a pretty straightforward job and nice and satisfying at the end. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.